So we'll start with التدريبات, the exercises. التدريب الأول, the first exercise. It says يذاكر حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. So they're clearly emphasizing on حتى and its effect. In the last class, we talked about that there are some huruf, there are some particles that comes before the present tense verb, and from what happens, it has its meaning, but in terms of grammatical impact, it changed from the dhamma into a fatha. Okay, so we talked about this. And the most common one is an, uridu an adhaba. So we went through all of these things. I think we also talked about hatta. So it's showing you this rule here. So it says يذاكر حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. So he is reviewing hatta here means in order to. Okay? يحصل, in order that he hasala ala. Remember, hasala has two meanings. If it comes with ala, anytime you see hasala ala, it's going to mean to obtain. Okay, without ala, hasala can mean occur, to something to happen. So you have يذاكر حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. So it means that he is reviewing in order to obtain darajat, which is degree, عالية is high. So we went through all of these things, right? So I think the main thing is that he's trying to show here is emphasizing the impact of hatta on present tense verb. Same thing goes with all of them. أعلن الجدول قبل الامتحان بشهر حتى يذاكر الطلاب. أعلن يعلن. This is a passive voice. The book is start using a lot of passive voice, but I'm not getting a chance to talk about this thing. So it says أعلن الجدول. So the jadwal is a chart. So the chart has been announced. So here you see this is a passive voice because the verb is a'lana. A'lana. A'lana yu'linu. But when you have this form, inshallah, we'll talk about this passive voice. I'm not just getting any time to do so yet. Because there are a lot of rules what happens with the passive form, because jadwal it should be object, because they're saying that someone announced what? Announced the chart. So the chart should be on an object. So what happens with the object? It should be getting a fatha, right? Remember, all the maf'ul bihi, it gets a fatha. But when you have a passive form, so this some change happens. So object becomes, it doesn't become a subject, it takes the dhamma. There's a lot of rules. I just don't want to get into it right now. So the chart has been announced قبل الامتحان, before the exam, بشهر, by 1 month. Why? حتى يذاكر الطلاب, so that the students can do a review. Okay, it makes sense. Now, تقدم بطلب للعميد حتى يلتحق بالمعهد. Same thing, it's just focusing on hatta. Think about hatta is li or li'an. It has similar meaning. So he submitted the request to the Amid, to the Dean, in order hatta. Why is he doing this? Hatta yaltahiqa, in order to join bil mahad, in order to join the institution. After hatta, if it comes in noun, it can take a kasra, it can take a dhamma. It has a little bit tricky things, the uses of hatta. Okay, so but when it comes before the present tense verb, it usually takes this meaning, in order to, and it will have a effect on the verb. Okay, يتعلم العربية حتى يعمل معلما في بلده. So he is learning the Arabic. Why he's doing that? حتى, in order to work as mualliman, teacher, in his country. So I think rest should be easy. I don't want to go through all of them. Let me just quickly see if there's anything. No, I think all of the words you know. Now, in the next column we have ذاكرتها جميعا لكني أحتاج إلى مراجعة. So here they are showing looks like all of the examples using لكني or لكن. So hatta comes, this hatta, there's different types of hatta. This hatta comes before the present tense verb, and when it does so, what happens? The present tense verb takes a mansub fatha. So lakin, this is the same thing as, remember we talked about inna wa akhawatuha. So we said there's inna, there is anna, there's lakinna, inna, anna, ka anna, lakinna, laita, la'alla. So you have these six you have to memorize. These are the six huruf which comes into nominative sentence. We talked about them, and it has some impact. So what is the impact? Impact is that there's a lot of grammatical terms. I'm trying to avoid those grammatical terms, but at least for now know the rule. The mubtada, the subject, will become mansub. It will take a fatha. Uh, الطالب جديد. So if you want to emphasize that yes, the student is new, surely, then you say inna. What happens? Inna taliba. There's a change happen. Inna taliba jadidun. And nothing happens with the predicate. Before inna, a talib is mubtada marfu'. Okay, jadid is khabar marfu'. But when you have inna, the term changes. They don't call it mubtada anymore. They say ismu inna. Ismu inna mansub, and then khabar is khabar inna marfu. So they have little bit term changes. So these things are really not that important right now. But this rule you do have to know. After inna, you should not say a dhamma. You don't say inna Allahu. That will be a mistake, right? You say inna Allaha azizun hakim. Hakada. But the issue is what they're doing here looks like all of them, they are using subject as a pronoun. You say huwa talibun, right? Huwa talibun. Same thing is a nominative sentence, jumlatul ismiya. So huwa is mubtada. And talibun, sorry, it should be talibun, talibun. So huwa talibun. So huwa is a mubtada and talibun is khabar. But you want to emphasize, you want to say that he is a student. Someone might be confuse him with teacher, but you saying no, he is a student. So now you want to add inna. Can you say inna huwa talibun? No. The inna needs to be connected with the pronoun. At that time, you have to use the connected pronoun. Last class, I think I mentioned this one only comes as a subject. Any other place, this pronoun will be changed into the other pronoun. ضمير متصل. So what is the ضمير متصل for huwa? Is who. So what do? You connect innahu. Innahu talibun. You see? But the who is actually mansub, just like what we have inna taliba, but you cannot see it because this is mabni, this is dhamir, all of these things. Okay? So the who is still in the, if you go into Arab, if somebody says, ask you, what is the Arab of the who? What is the state of who? You might be tempted to say this is Dhamma marfu. No, that's a mistake. It's not marfu, it is mansub. So this is a little bit tricky things, and we don't have to go that details, but we did see inna in other situation, and we have to know inna and akhawatuha, the impact that I mentioned to you. As you can see, he says, ذَكَرْتُهَا, so that means I reviewed it, جَمِيعًا, all of them. So this is an emphasis. I reviewed all of them, لَكِنَّنِي, but I need. So here you have لَكِن أَنَا. You see, أَنَا أَحْتَاجُ إِلَى مُرَاجَعَةٍ. So we have lakin plus ana, and you make it into lakinnani, just like kitabi and all of these things. Inshallah, I think we've done this conjugation, so it should not be problem. But just know that all of them, inna, أنك أن لكن ليت لعل. There's a little bit exception with the late, I think, but all of them you have to do conjugations with the pronouns. Okay. Now, I'll just do a few more, then I think it should be okay for now. هذا العمل كثير. This work is a lot. That means it's a lot of work. ولكنني أحبه. But, you have to know what lakin means. Lakin means but. Okay, I think I went through this. Inna means indeed. I think I went through this. Inna is indeed. Anna, Anna and Inna has a similar impact, but usually Inna comes in the beginning. Anna comes in the middle. But the better translation would be Anna as that, but it also has that emphasize. Lakinna means what? Lakinna means but. But. Now, one more. بقي أسبوع لكنه يكفي لمراجعة المواد. What is بقي? I think we had this word before. It's a verb, very good verb, important verb actually. This is a tricky one. بقي is the past tense. يبقى is the present tense. So you have يبقى. يبقى with alif. Okay, the past tense has ya and present tense has alif. So be careful with that. بقي أسبوع. 1 week left. لكنه يكفي. But it is what? It is enough. لمراجعة المواد. It is enough to review the subjects. We had all of these exercises before, so the book focusing on these two issues, that some words come in the present tense verb makes it into mansub, and some words comes in nominative sentence and makes the subject into mansub. Now, so we'll move into next tadrib, at-tadrib al-thani, which we skip, has to do with pronunciation, I suppose. And we have at-tadrib al-thalith, the third exercise. It says أجب عن الأسئلة. Answer the questions. متى حدد المعهد موعد الامتحان النهائي? So these questions are coming from the text that we read, before. So what I'll do, we have to kind of go back to the text. Let me translate it and maybe we'll do just one or two, because the problem is that we have to go back to the text. It will take a lot of time. So you should be doing it yourselves. Mata haddada. Haddada, this verb I talked about, this means to specify. Mata haddadul mahadu. When did the Mahad Institute specified maw'id al-imtihan nihai, the time or the schedule of the final exams? I remember he said something about Saturday or something like that. So here it says متى يبدأ, when does it start? يوم السبت الأول من شهر شعبان. So the answer could be, you can just say, you can say في يوم السبت. You can say في يوم السبت. السبت الأول, the first Saturday, من شهر شعبان. Remember, you can say fi, and if you say fi, then it will take kasra, but if you don't want to say fi, then you can remove the fi, then you can just put a fatha. We talked about this one, right? This is very cool technique you can use. نعم. متى يحتاج أحمد ليتم مذاكرة جميع المواد? What does Ahmed need in order to complete review of all of his subjects? Sorry, why am I saying ماذا? ماذا يحتاج أحمد ليتم مذاكرة جميع المواد? What does he need in order to complete, review of all of the subjects? يحتاج إلى مراجعة بعض الموضوعات. نعم. Just one more and then we'll end. لماذا يذاكر الطالب كثيرا? This should be very easy. Why do students review a lot? You can say حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. So here's the حتى and you say يحصل. You don't say حتى يحصل. You say حتى يحصل على درجات عالية. Something like that, okay? Inshallah, go through them. Let me see. Or maybe I can just at least translate some of them. It says, ماذا ينوي Ahmad? What does Ahmad intend? Meanings, what does he intend to do? أين وجد أحمد جدول الامتحان? Where did Ahmed find final exam chart? It's very simple stuff. I don't see any complication here. If you went through the, reading, all of them should be very easy. Then we have التدريب الرابع, the fourth exercise. كون جملا, make sentences. I will do just few of them. This is very easy, so I'll just probably do one or two max. Again, same thing. We start with the verb. Now we have two verbs. We have أذاكر and we have ألتحق. And if we're going to start with them, which one should we be starting with? Obviously, we will be starting with أذاكر because looks like it has a fatha, so that means something needs to be preceded. Something has to precede this verb. So we can say أذاكر كثيرا حتى ألتحق بالجامعة. Very simple, right? I study a lot in order to join the university. I think I've been saying udhakiru means review. It has the same meaning, but actually udhakiru is to study. Uraji'u would be to review. They're very similar in meaning, but to be a little bit more precise, dhakara is to study, raja'a is to review. Okay? Now, the second one, we can start with haddada, specified. Haddada what? I think this is a mistake. I just don't see a way to have a kasra in mahad because it needs to be a dhamma. Okay, let me leave this one aside. So we can say haddada maw'ida, then it will be bad'i, okay, ad-dirasa. Yes. Because we don't have any place to put this one. So that means if we remove this one, we say he is specified or it specified the schedule of beginning of the studies. So, but I think what they want is that who specified al-mahad. So, in that case, what we need to do is we need to put this one into dhamma, first of all. Second, this would be second. Haddad al-mahadu. Then we can say al-maw'ida bad'i ad-dirasa. Now, rest inshallah you can do. No. But be careful. They have a mistake. So I can already see that this is a mistake. Okay, so we can say yabda'ul imtihanu. So the exam starts because there's no fee. So you need a fatha. So we have to put this one fatha. Yawma. So I'll put this one as a third. Yawma sabti. Okay, and this one I'll put fourth. Wa yantahi, and it finish. See, now we're gonna have a problem. There's no fee, so how do we get a kasra here? So we need a fatha here. Then we can say yawm al khamis. Make sense? Now go through the rest. Hopefully there's not many mistakes. Okay, then we have at-tadrib al-khamis, the fifth exercise. It says akmil, complete. Again, you know how much I don't like this exercise. We'll go through a few of them. Let's see. So some imtihan mu'allaqun. Okay, so this should be easy. So it should be jadwal imtihan. So the exam charts mu'allaqun is hanging fi lawhi i'lanat. You remember? Which means the bulletin board. Exam schedule is hanging on the bulletin board. Make sense? Second one is يحتاج الطالب إلى بعض موضوعات. No. Okay, so it's something that we just read a few times. يحتاج الطالب إلى what? مراجعة. مرا مراجعة مراجعة or مراجعتي, because this is مضاف مضاف إليه is continuing. So student needs a review of some بعض الموضوعات, some of the subjects. It is complete here. If you say, I don't know what they want us to add here. Student needs to review some of the subjects or topics. I don't know, maybe we can say al mawad, subject topics, something like that. And one more maybe. حدد المعهد. Yeah, so that's easy. موعد موعد الامتحان النهائية. Okay. النها النهائي. Again, remember the same thing. أذاكر كثيرا حتى أحصل على درجات عالية. Hmm? Ali, I don't know what. I study a lot in order to obtain high grades. If it's more than one word, then of course we can do a lot. Fill imtihan, high grades in the exam. But if it's only one word, I'm not sure. Jayid, so go through them. Inshallah, whatever you can do, this is good for you. Then we have التدريب السادس. التدريب السادس هاتي أسئلة للأجوبة التالية. Give questions for the following answers. So now they give you answers. You're supposed to ask the question. So something we've done it before, should be fairly easy. It says أنا بخير والحمد لله. So what is the question? كيف حالك? That would be the question. How are you? Then it says أذاكر كثيرا حتى ألتحق بالجامعة. You can ask لماذا تذاكر, but be careful when you're asking. You cannot say لماذا أذاكر. You're not asking yourself, so you have to change the pronoun. So you say لماذا تذاكر. Okay. تذاكر. Why do you study? تذاكر كثيرا. So you want to say لماذا. نعم. And then we have أنا الآن أستعد أستعد للامتحان. I am now prepared for the exam. Mm. I mean, the easy would have been like to ask, are you prepared for the exam? هل أنت تستعد للامتحان? But then usually when we have هل, we need to have نعم, right? I'm not sure. I would go with هل, just to make it simple. هل تستعد للامتحان. I'm not sure. نعم. We'll just do one more. في سنة 12 شهرا. In a year, we have 12 months. This should be fairly simple. We say كم شهرا. كم شهرا في السنة. Okay. في السنة. How many months in a year? Then you say في السنة 12 شهرا. No. Anyway, go through them, inshallah, should be fairly simple. No, might be more than one way of asking. That's, possible. Then we have التدريب السابع, the seventh exercise. It says اقرأ جهرا. Read loudly. This is the opposite of سرا. سرا. So, let's see what it says. في السنة الهجرية 12 شهرا. So in the Hijric year, Hijri year, there are 12 months. Muharram, Safar, it goes through all of these things. Inshallah, it should be easy. Muharram, Safar, Rabiul Awwal. Here, you see, be careful it's not that common because usually they don't put the haraka of these words because they're a little bit tricky. Like you have Robiyun al-awwal. Okay, so you should be reading Robiyunil awwal. But most of the time we just say Robiul awwal, Robiul awwal. That's fine. But this is not a mistake. This is how it is. Robiyun al-akhir. You can say Robiul akhir. Then you have Jumad al-ula, Jumad al-akhira, then Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan. And these are also not mistake. This Dhamma. You cannot say Sha'banun or Ramadanun. No, these will take a Dhamma. And the reason is this Alif and Nun. Uthman, Afwan. Any names and adjective that has with Alif and Nun at the end, it will become غير منصرف ممنوع من الصرف, meaning it cannot take tanween nor can it take a kasra. Now, and Shawwal, see this doesn't have a problem, so you can say Shawwalun, no problem. Then Dhul, it should be Qa'da, Dhul Hijjah. I think it should be Dhul Qa'da and Dhul Hijjah. So these are all 12 months. And then next it says وفي الشهر أربعة أسابع وبعض الأيام. In a month we have 4 weeks. أربعة is 4. أسابع is the plural of أسبوع, which is week. We have 4 weeks. وبعض. بعض is some. الأيام. But most of the time, there's it's an exception, but most of the time it will come as mudaf ilayhi, some of days. But I think in English we'll translate some days. So it's saying that in a month we have 4 weeks and some days. Then he says wafil usbu'. Here's the usbu', and this is the plural of usbu' is asabi'. Fil usbu' sab'atu ayyamin. In the week we have 7 days. And we went through all of these techniques of reading numbers from 1 to 2, 3 to 10, 11 to 12, 13 to 19, then 20, and all of these things. There's a crazy thing. If you have forgotten, I don't blame you. I think there is a good chart, especially in Medina Book 2. Medina Book 2 gave a very book 2, or yeah, I think it's in book 2. You have this whole number section. He gave every single possible. And once you look at it, you will know how complicated this number is. Because you have to not only know these, stages that I mentioned, 1 to 2, 3 to 10, and all of these things, you also have to be careful about the genders. Things get a little bit complicated. Anyway, but that means what? That means we have to review more. Now, so in the week, there's 7 days here, and they are Sabt is Saturday, Al-Ahad is Sunday, Al-Ithnain is Monday, Al-Thulatha is Tuesday, Al-Arbi'a is Wednesday, Al-Khamis is Thursday, and Al-Jumu'ah, we know, is Friday. And as you can see, they're related to the numbers. Sabt from Sab'a, 7, and Ahad is 1, and Ithnain comes from 2. You see how it's going. Thulathas come from Thalatha, and Arbi'a coming from what? Arba'a. Okay, Khamis comes from. So all of them are coming from the numbers except for Jumu'ah. Now, then it says في اليوم look at this في اليوم 24 ساعة. In the day there are 24 hours. Now, again, I just mentioned to you this number business is really tricky. The 4 is arbaatun, right? 4 is arbaatun. What happened to the ta marbuta? And these are the tricky parts because it is describing what? It's talking about what? As-sa'a, which is feminine. It has ta marbuta, so the number has to be opposite. Tricky stuffs, guys. Tricky stuffs. Then he said في الساعة 60 دقيقة. Okay, in the hour you have 60. Situn is 60. Daqiqa. Okay, daqiqa has a lot of different meanings. It's a basically think of daqiq is the smallest thing that Arabs can think of. In a normal sense, not going into scientific realm. In the normal sense, they think that daqiq means this word means the smallest thing. So in the time, the smallest thing is the second, right? So they say daqiq. Something they want to be precise, they say daqiq. That means very precise. هذا الكلام دقيق. This, is very precise talk. And then guess what? When you grind flours to make breads, the flour is called daqiq, which means it's very fine. That's how they look at the word daqiq. I made a mistake. The daqiqa is a minute. Thani is seconds. So it says في الدقيقة ستون ثانية. So in the minute we have 60 seconds. Okay, makes sense? Now we have التدريب الثامن, the eighth exercise says اقرأ, read. So we have ستون ثانية equal to دقيقة. Okay, so it gives you the whole chart. So this is something that, maybe you can read by yourself and memorize them. We know this in English, right? We just have to see how they say in Arabic. So if say ستون دقيقة, 60 seconds equal to دقيقة, 1 minute. ستون دقيقة is الساعة, is 1 hour. Remember, without the time مربوطة, 24, or you can say 40 و20 ساعة equal to يوم. Okay, then we have 6 أيام أسبوعا, meaning أسبوع. And then 12 شهرا is سنة, and 10 سنوات is عقد. عقد is decade. So 10 سنوات is عقد. And then we have 10 وقود, which is the plural of the عقد, is قرن. قرن is century. Century. So that means what? 1000 سنة. Next تدريب التدريب التاسع, in the ninth exercise. أكمل, complete. القرن equal to how many سنة? We just said ألف. ألف سنة. You can go through this thing. العقد is 10. Go through them, guys. Go through them. It should be fairly simple. Let me just complete this one maybe, and then we can wrap up. Next one is التدريب التاسع. Anyway, this should be 10. This should be 10, the 10th exercise. ضع كل كلمة في جملة. Put every or each word in a sentence. I'm not going to do this. It's something that you really need to do them. And last time I mentioned how to do this properly is in 2 steps. First, you find this exact word in the text, and then write it and see how it's used. And then the second sentence would be, you change a little bit here and there and to make it your own.